Oh man, that took a while to recover from, but I mean, I think that episode, that last one of our best, right?
Yeah, and now we're moving on to episode 70, which is last night.
Yes, episode 70. I mean, we got only how many episodes until 420 now, and then we can do it again?
Well, I guess we could do like 169 because this is gonna take. Well, we're not gonna get through 100 episodes next year, so.
True. It's like 169 would probably be the next big milestone, and it's like I don't know about that, man. Have you seen this? Have you seen the series already?
Yeah, it's really descending. This every episode is sort of its own like embarrassment of storytelling, and I think we're.
It's progressively getting like I still cannot get over the plot line that we just experienced here. It's like I thought that, you know, like the whole Madarame thing with like meeting up with Yusuke entirely separate from finding out about Madarame was bad, and it's like I just want you to imagine for a second trying to explain Futaba to like somebody who's never seen the series before or something like that, where it's just like, okay, so this is the character who has the strongest connection to the main character's superpowers of anybody else that's appeared in the game. Anybody. And, you know, so you're wondering, like, oh, so did you meet her in the metaverse? Like, was she doing her own experimentation? Was she the second person that people have been talking about leading up to? No. Was she somebody that figured out how the main characters were doing what they were doing, so she contacted them, maybe through the website? Hey, we haven't heard anything about the website in a while. No. As it turns out, the person that adopted the main character also adopted Futaba.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's like the mastermind or something that's bringing together all these characters that know about the metaverse.
Nope.
No, it was all just a coincidence. It's like this entire plot line is just like the epitome of cramming a square peg in a round hole style of storytelling.
Yeah, just like your thematic analysis is like, well, why did this happen? Well, it happened because it happened, but also for no other reason than convenience, like narrative convenience. And
it also took 40 hours for it to happen, despite the fact that, you know, she was adopted like 2 years ago.
It's like I don't want to knock narrative convenience. You know, like if you have a character who's basically like, you know, okay, he's a vacuum repairman who transports the, you know, wall to the Breaking Bad cast across the country. Okay, fine. That you've got basically a functional character. That's fine. But they do like to what end? They were telling a great story with Breaking Bad. They're not telling a story with this is the story. The story is lazy. It's the laziness of the story.
The story is just kind of piling a bunch of random events onto each other. Like, you know, all the stuff I said there, it's just like you could have taken any one of those and, you know, just tried to tie together, like, the events that were happening rather than having it all just be like, yeah.
Well,
whatever. Look, we have these characters. They're supposed to do this thing. We're not going to make any effort for it to make sense.
Yeah. It's just like well, the thing is they do expend a lot of effort and the viewers' time, like the player, hundreds of hours, like just explaining things, like just gluing everything. It's like a pipe that's made out of only duct tape.
They could have set up any of that before, but instead it's just you know, square peg round hole. we have these story elements and we're gonna make them fit. Oh, and actually, speaking of like expending a lot of time and effort, one of the things that we kind of glossed over in episode 68 was that the villains, the entire like MedJed storyline was apparently an AstroTurf campaign to make the Phantom Thieves more popular by Shido. Like that was a thing, like that's a lot of time, that's a lot of effort, that's a lot of, you know, resources expended to try and prop up these, you know, selfish, megalomaniacal, fame-hounding jackasses.
Yeah, and it's like it's such effort that they go through. Like it's fine if that's the story. Like, okay, a billionaire, like this evil villain is, you know, plotting to make the hero more powerful. Like that's okay, that works. Like the hacker thing would have worked on its own terms. A lot of these stories could have worked on their own terms, but they try to glue everything together and they just make no effort to like think ahead. Like I'm sure they just did like, well, what's this week's? What are we gonna do this week? Well, let's have them go to the beach or something. That's what they're gonna do, and then we'll figure out all the reasons they go to the beach later.
I've said before that things just kind of happen when they happen. The real question, though, is just like, why would Shido be doing all of this? It's like, you know, first off, once again, it's just like to make sure that the main characters never have to actually do anything. But it's like, why is he going to all this effort? I mean, the cynic in me wants to say so that they can blame the like mental shutdown events on the Phantom Thieves, despite the fact that they have the Ring of Gaijis, and you know, nobody knows anything about them, and nobody was suspicious of Shido in the first. But that's I think that's even a little bit excessive for Persona.
Yeah. And I mean,
it's like, my guess is it's probably like, I don't know, Shido can't get to the bottom of Mementos, and Mementos is going to have some MacGuffin that's going to give him supreme ultimate power. And it has to be the main characters, you know, like some sort of magical ritual. Because after all, that's what the game's been building up to this point anyway.
Persona by J.J. Abrams.
But I'm fully expecting that whatever sort of explanation. Because as of right now, it's like, okay, there's something with the story as to, like, the story of Medjed was still garbage. All the coincidences that happened over the course of the story were still garbage. And again, it's like, I thought Madarame was bad. Little did I know. It's like, Medjed as a villain was awful. But it's like, I don't know, maybe they can go somewhere with this storyline. It's just... The question of why would you spend this much time and effort building up the people, these idiots?
These are...
I mean, it explains why like everybody's so into the Phantom Thieves and everything. It's because they're paying for so many TV spots to force them to talk about it.
I mean, these are...
like, they're probably making a Keiichigo on... if he's... I mean, I don't know. It's like the one of his cronies is the chief of police. He's probably pushing to get Goro on the news every single night talking about him. So it's like, hey, that kind of almost makes sense. But, you know, the question then is why? For what reason?
You know, I can't help but think that, like, I've been thinking about, like, the writing in terms of, like, how the characters have dialogue that's not horrific in terms of, like, it's pretty decent. The dialogue itself, like when they're talking to each other, blah, 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 when they're having conversations and everything, and when they're, you know, texting each other, it seems pretty decent. Like, the dialogue isn't, like, offensively bad or anything, and sometimes pretty good. But the thing is, because they have no planning or foresight for where the plot is going, they just have to be like, well, what would Mishima say, blah, 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 in this situation? They don't have a reason.
It's like, what is going to be the ridiculous coincidence that forces us into the next plot line? It's just, this is like something that we've been building up for over the entire series, where I keep talking about stuff like, you know, how a lot of the plot lines are built around just having somebody come up off the street and tell them what the plot is supposed to be. Having just like characters just kind of give up randomly because, you know, it's not time to continue the plot at this point. And it's just like coincidence after coincidence after coincidence, and so much repetition in... like this guy here is just a walking plot point, and he's awful at it because it's not time yet. This
is basically the equivalent of like what Sayanojima does, but like the good guys. It's like, it's for your new allies, and it's the same framing device, and all it does is do the same thing. It's just like, it makes it seem like it's a clever frame story, but it's just like...
Igor has always been like this in the Persona series. You can't even fault him. He's just kind of one of those like mainstays, but like, God, is he so pointless?
Yeah, like, we don't need this scene. We don't need this scene with Sayanojima. We just could go through the story.
He's just telling you, the story is going to continue from this point. We're not done yet.
This chapter 6 is beginning, or 5 or whatever. What are we on? Are we on the...
this is Fourth Palace. I guess we're going to consider this chapter 5.
Okay, so...
The 5th story arc.
So, wait.
Where, by the way, we are going to go back to the first story arc now. Apparently, like, a big part of this is now that... people are looking back into the Kamoshida stuff for... Because it's time for it to happen.
By the way, did the Futaba one, was that the 4th Palace? Does that count?
Yeah, that was definitely the 4th Palace.
Okay.
We got Kamoshida, Madarame, Kaneshiro, and now Futaba.
Okay.
Man, I was so interested. I was so down with like the Medjed storyline at the very beginning, because it's just like, okay, so this is a group of people. They're from all over the world. They're all anonymous. You can't attack them in the same way. and they're actually a worldwide like threat, then it makes so it's like it's gonna finally make sense why everybody's getting you know, really invested in the Phantom Thieves, and it's just the worst storyline out of all of them.
It never resolved in anything. They were just pawns for Shido.
And then we find out that it's just like there was no resolution. It was just they basically paid actors. I assume that what would have happened is if they didn't actually get Futaba here, that they would have just kind of like gave up anyway and been like, "Oh, you're too powerful, Phantom Thieves," and just like nothing would have happened. There's no plot here.
Also, I just like that. Yeah, they're just explaining, you know, where we're going, like the resolution of the plot, just on the TV screen. Everybody just passively watching the TV, maybe make a comment. Yep, there you go. I mean,
even the Prime Minister.
Yep, even the Prime Minister. And they can't intercept any of these texts, by the way. They can't find out the website, like who owns the website. They can't figure out, hey, it seems to be like...
You'd think it would be pretty easy to figure out who registered the website.
Yeah, like I'm sure there's no way the governments would be able to find out who were the early visitors to the website and figure out, like, oh, you know, they all seem to be from this one high school, this one...
Like, and of course it's just like, you know, the researching into the high school and everything. I mean, it's... But, you know, at the same time, it's just like... Torinosuke just kind of figured it out anyway because it was time.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, he was like a psychic or some bullshit, like some unexplained...
Spoiler, next episode we're going to find out that Takemi also realizes it too. Although it makes a lot more sense with her. Though, I don't know if I would say that I would think that main character was one of the Phantom Thieves, just that he had connections to them or something. Because it's like, I gotta say, it's like, when I look at these jabronis, I do not think, yeah, these guys are the ones who are brainwashing people.
And also, it's like they've so far, other than the brainwashing is the only reason you care about them, because they've changed 4 people's hearts. One of them is what,
and of course, like the big thing is that it's like they're not like super important people, except for Oyamada, the chief of the head of staff of the largest hospital in Tokyo.
Oh yeah, and sorry,
nobody brings that up.
Completely throwaway casual detail that never comes up again. Probably will only
irrelevant.
Might come up once more during the Takemi thing. Maybe.
It is going to come up once more because, like I said, next time we're doing Takemi's storyline, we can just go do that right now. I already have it done if I wanted to. It's just back to the 30-minute episode format because I am a slave to tradition.
Also, the same. I know I've seen this scene before. This exact scene, they just reused it.
Oh yeah, I mean this is the whole like what is it? Stage play style storytelling where it's like they only have so many scenes.
I know, but like that. Oh, so really is that the case across the board? Like you have like almost all.
Oh yeah, we've seen like this thing before. We've seen like last thing before. We'll see like that scene where they're all looking at the television again.
Okay, so I
think right now we're probably going to switch to the Kawakami perspective, which we'll see like a billion more times over the course of the series.
I'm starting to realize that this is not a very good game on any level. The design is good, the gameplay. I don't mean like any level. I mean like they're not animating this
story-wise.
Yes.
I still like everything else about the game. I mean, I still will bring up that it's just like when we started the Kaneshiro Palace, and he had the money trees, and he had the gigantic $ tombstones, and that rockin' theme in the background. It's like this giant UFO. Oh, it just made me imagine a game that I would have really loved.
Yeah. You just kind of hear that staring down.
Also, we're going back for a vacation again. Oh man, whoa, that was a big storyline that we went through there. Time to go back on vacation.
Wait, is the whole school going to Hawaii? It's like a class trip?
This might be, yes it is, but I don't know, this might be like a Japanese thing? Big like class trip or something?
No, I guess it's plausible, but like, she almost says it right there. And I realize I've seen this scene now. Oh god. They just have, it's basically just like watching stock footage not being put together by Adam Curtis.
Could you imagine if they just like cut out half the dialogue in this game and made a lot more effort to like make the cutscenes look a lot better? It was developed for like 10 years.
You know, I think what they could have done, yeah, it's clearly it's like a development.
2008 to 2016.
But like they could just cut out everything and just have everything be like a text message. Like that's basically what Danganronpa does. There isn't like a bunch of scenes.
It is. I mean, and as you know, it's just like all of the worst text. All the worst like dialogue in the game is all text messages.
You know, and I mean that's true. But like you could literally just have the text messages and you could tell the entire story. It would not be hard. It
would not even be all that much different.
It wouldn't,
considering how much repetition there is already.
Yeah, and like the flavor text is like. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say is like the dialogue is like flavor text.
Flavor text. It's just like in the bottom right corner. Everybody's talking about like, hey, we all love them. Yeah, only 64% think they're just.
Yeah. Like it's just.
I mean, you know.
All the dialogue is just flavor text.
A lot of it's just so much. Yeah.
All of it.
Well, anyway.
You don't need any of this dialogue. All your hard work was wasted.
Should we go after another big target? No, Ryuji. It's not time. Not yet. Like, Jesus Christ. Oh, hey, put on those brakes, my dude. It's like around here in Persona 5, we take things slow.
You kind of sound like a Bob Odenkirk character.
I was thinking like minor prospector. Around here in Persona 5, we take things slow. Taking it easy.
Yeah, I think what it is that's
Want some ride? Of course you do.
That's just Bob Odenkirk's normal speaking voice.
That's not what he sounds. Hey, put it up on. Hey, whoever's doing the bingo, put up Mr. Show sketch. Even though it's not quite, it's close enough.
I mean, he definitely does that accent.
Also, Danganronpa.
Yeah, there we go. I also compared it to a great work of literature, a new great work of literature. I forget which one.
Here, if we're going to compare it to great works of literature, it's like, hey, with all these coincidences, you'd think that this is the importance of being earnest. Except that actually was a joke.
Wasn't Crash about that? Like the bad Crash, the one that won the Oscar that everybody talked. I have never seen.
Was it? Yeah, not the good Crash about people who get off to car accidents.
I forget. I think that is. I've never seen either of them. That's just what I hear is the.
Something about racism.
Yeah.
The importance of being earnest had a baby being replaced by a screenplay, which is a very good joke, but, you know. Anyway. Yeah, reveal your identities, guys.
But tricks are going to be all over us. Yeah, like Sayanajima of the detective agency, you dumbass.
Or Keiichigoro, also of the detectives, or... It's really just those two.
Yeah, those are the two detectives investigating this thing that the Prime Minister is.
The Prime Minister didn't even say anything like, "Oh, we hate him." He's just kind of like, leave it to the police, whatever.
We're not investigating them, but they do exist.
Yeah.
Any follow-ups?
Like, could you imagine just like hearing in Japan that it's like some sort of international hacker organization that was threatening the country and everybody was taking it deadly serious? Yeah. Unless some sort of like super local group of vigilantes joined them, I think it was, and they gave them a full calendar month to do so. And then you find out that the group of vigilantes apparently were the ones that took care of it.
I mean,
I'd just be like, yo, Japan, are you okay?
Yeah, this is like the formation of ISIS in like 2000, like it's just like a big news story, except, well, what have they done? Well, did they behead anyone? Did they, like...
They said in a full month, they will attack the United States Bitcoin economy.
They stopped a gym teacher from abusing his students.
Unless they'll destroy the entire United States Bitcoin economy, unless the Boulder, Colorado Police Department joins.
Well, you know, the thing about it is, with Bitcoin, as much as we hate on it, we pretty much dedicated this entire series to hating on Bitcoin. But like, you do need a proof of work, and I've seen no proof of work in this entire game.
Cryptocurrencies and NFTs. Am I right? I don't know. Explain to me what an NFT is.
We need an NFT for this video series You know,
Can I sell these? Can I sell this video series as an NFT? Maybe then I'd actually get something out of it. That's not That's not just the Japanese knowledge, I suppose.
well, your rates are you get like a cent for every minute that somebody actually stays on these videos. So if you're watching this right
I
now,
don't actually monetize them.
No, I know. I mean, I'm trying to make a joke about watch time. Like nobody is watching.
No, it's like people dip out after like a minute.
Yep. As they should, frankly. But
yeah, I get it.
I get it.
No binding of eyes,
People who are
which is weird.
By definition,
people are,
not
weirdly
listening
into
to
it.
this.
Oh yeah, who cares? The principal appeared in a tabloid because he's the place where they still, all gather around the TV at night to watch the news. Because they're reopening the investigation into Kamoshida, and by they I mean I don't know, tabloids, whatever.
Wait.
Like, look, it's just like, why even bother explaining this? They'll explain. Why say something once? Why say it again?
Are we going back to the? So we're going back to the Kamoshida, the gym teacher saga, right?
I guess.
Okay.
I mean, it's just like. Also, it's just like, man, it is way too difficult to just like go find another target. I guess we'll just wait and instead spy on Najima's sister with magic USBs. Whatever.
It's always funny when you check the time left because it's like, oh god.
You're not supposed to tell people when I do that. Or it's just like, how close? 10 minutes left.
Oh, sorry.
No.
I didn't realize. I thought that showed up, but I guess it would make sense that it doesn't because it's probably the video feed.
You see that. Nobody else
Okay,
sees
fair
that.
enough.
When I'm staring, trying to count down how long the episode's going to be lasting. It's like when I mess around with like the volume levels.
Oh.
No, the people at home don't see
Is that
that.
gonna mess up your video if you do that?
No, I'm not recording this video. We're just watching this on.
We're just recording the trailer. Okay.
P70 non-com.
That's right. I guess I forgot that you're not like literally recording this on OBS. We're recording these on separate Audacity files.
I mean, I could just like straight up go like, hey, what's going on my channel right now?
But I want to see what's happening in Persona. Yeah.
Yeah, but like the average view duration of the Binding of Isaac episodes are actually pretty high.
Oh, that's pretty nice. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, despite the fact that they're not like super popular,
it's a great game for streaming. You can just watch it continually.
It's a fun game.
Yeah.
I've been playing it an awful lot lately.
Yeah. You want to ditch this
and then there was
Persona
also
and just go to the
recent Dead Cells and Bloodborne stream. I don't know if you saw that.
God, it would just kill me if I had analytics. Like if nobody watches anything that I've done. I don't do anything. I mean, so it doesn't even.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you don't do anything, nobody watches.
But like, even if I did, like, it would be so like, oh, I would hate having analytics. I'd be like, oh, so what are people clicking on now? Oh my god, I got to do more of those.
And here's me where I'm just like, oh man, people really want me to go and play Dead Cells again. It's like, Binding of Isaac is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
That's me.
Okay, let's discuss.
Yes? Yeah, we were talking about advertisements. I don't know. Oh, yeah. I don't know, like 6 months later, because... This is such a weird, like, I guess I would say that it's a weird time for this to happen. We just spent, 10 minutes talking about how everything just kind of happens arbitrarily.
Yeah, and it's so... I feel like this is their chance to get Goro involved. Is that what it is? Is that just the...
No, I think it's a character in the background there. Haru.
Okay.
She's eventually going to be a party member, and this is probably the arc where she does it. I don't know, whatever. I gotta say that it's like, of any one of the characters in Persona 5, I know the least about her. Because she's apparently like the least memorable of them. So, super good sign for the rest of this arc. That doesn't stop you ever.
I love that he just keeps saying it, even though after the thing with Najima or Makoto, he still says it just in public.
Everybody says it doesn't matter because they're not going to find out, because nobody will find out unless they're supposed to.
You know what? I just realized the reason they did that with Makoto, like finding out that way, it wasn't because they were going for like a reveal. It was because that was the only way they could do it with the stage play thing.
they could not figure out a better way to do it.
It was beautiful. I mean, it was like a Tex Avery gag, like it's just a classic cartoon. They were not intending for that to be so funny, but it was.
But it's just like, why are you laughing? This is the only way we know how to write.
That makes it even funnier.
Why are you making fun of us? We're trying our best. This is a very critically acclaimed game.
I don't understand why it's. I mean,
I don't know either.
Is it,
this game is just like, what happened? Why? Who?
Is it just like this series?
But like everybody loves it.
Is it just like this series where people just are like, just not to go too meta, but people click off of that, like they just skip all the dialogue and say, oh yeah, that was a fun game. Like, they had all that gameplay, and
I guess it must be, right?
That's my working theory, because or it's people who just like a realistic depiction of Japanese high school life, which is understandable.
I'm pretty sure that is actually a lot of appeal.
Yeah, and I mean, it's understandable. I mean, kind of like a slice of life thing. It's just that it doesn't work with.
There's so many things that are not slice of life, so it's just like, what are the writers just kind of like ignoring the fact that people really like that aspect of it, or what?
Yeah, and it's like, okay, so if that's the case, then just write the.
Why would they go for such an ambitious like tale of morality and justice?
Yeah. I think they're
rather than just a simple murder mystery like they did in Persona 4.
And I was gonna say, like, yeah, Danganronpa again. They make that kind of a slice of life thing, but it's like for the main
just
plot,
a free space on the bingo card at this point.
I mean, for the main, like, there's an option to play like the dating sim. You know, like you can play it as a dating sim, or you can play it as a real game with the story mode, basically. I mean, that's a perfectly understandable way to do it.
And I do both.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess I'm technically doing both right now in this game. Well, anyway, yeah, I still got to go see Maruki. What is his name? Whatever, the other new character. Been focusing too much on Yoshizawa. Anyway, all this is pointless. We're now just waiting around until the next vacation.
Wait, so who's Dr. Maruki?
Because I don't think we're gonna do anything with the plot. There's no like plot stuff that's happening right now.
I mean, I think. Is the Hawaii thing completely like an optional, like not optional, but you know, like a complete like side quest thing?
It must be. It's weird because we just did the beach episode, so I don't know.
I feel like, you know, if I'm thinking about this, if I'm an ambitious writer, what I want to do is, okay, we have this vacation, somebody gets killed, or something like that. Somebody from the class gets murdered. I'm not
that
joking. Like that would actually be interesting.
That would be something.
It would at least have something happening. You know what I mean? That they're brutally murdered, and okay, who did it? Let's figure out who did it. And let's change their heart using our persona powers. But they've got a palace. Okay, this is gonna be a.
They would not do that though.
Yeah, I know. Like
there has to be the entire lead up where they started up, and then they have to have. You know, they have to like gather evidence, and then they have to give up because they didn't gather enough evidence.
Yeah,
and then they have to just go do the thing that actually gets them into the palace. And then when they go in the palace, they have to leave after like spending 5 minutes in there, and just so on and so forth. It's just like the idea that you would just kind of go and change somebody's heart. That's for mementos. You know, the stuff that doesn't matter.
I feel like if Persona, like if they tried to tell the story of like the Sixth Sense. What they would do, and sorry for the lisp, it's hard to say that with the Midwestern accent. Maybe you can do it better. But that movie by M. Night Shyamalan, I'm picturing Persona trying to do that and just like giving away the ending, the frame stories, like with Igor.
That would be like the start of the movie.
Yeah. Like you're dead, but
because I mean, it's like we're still waiting on the whole reveal that the sixth palace is going to be Nejima's.
Yeah. We have to find out,
and that we're going to be stealing her heart, and that main character is going to get kidnapped or captured by her. We're still waiting on that.
Still waiting.
Actually, you know, I mean, that's the other thing. It's not even like bringing up like the whole first story arc and everything. It's like we're now kind of going back to the whole like mental shutdown thing. Remember how we got like one scene about that in like episode 2? and it's like, in episode 70, we'll start talking about it again.
Well, technically, if you count like save files as being different runs, that makes this a roguelike and a Metrovania. or Metroidvania.
None of this is true at all.
Because you're backtracking now.
You wouldn't say something along the lines of like, I don't know, Mementos or something, which has randomly generated dungeons. Yeah.
No, I wanted to make a joke that the plot itself was a Metroidvania. No, I
just gotta like grope around until you find the power up to get through the next differently colored door.
This game is probably okay. So I know you weren't like a huge fan of Hades, but
that is a coincidence. Wow, it's not even the most. It's like, man, you want to tell you about coincidences?
But this game is more critically acclaimed for its writing than almost any game ever made.